back to Comic Beyond. So, in this episode, we're covering issue 1 of Batman 89. So, I'm a little behind. I know this series has been out for a while. They're probably on issue 3, 4, maybe. I know it's a 6-part miniseries. So, I'm behind. I wanted to get this issue when it came out. Fortunately, I wasn't able to, and by the time I got around to it, places were sold out of it. And so, I finally got my hands on issue 1. And so I just got excited to have it, and so I read it, and I was like, I'm gonna make this the next episode. And like I've said in the past on my Batman '89 movie review, this is my favorite Batman. This is the Batman that introduced me to the character. It's what got me hooked on the mythos of Batman. So knowing that they were doing a mini series, I never thought I'd see it because they've talked about it for years, maybe to do one, almost like how they did the Batman '66 ongoing series. And by the time they talked about it, they kind of shot the idea down, so we never got that. But now that they're doing it, I think it's really cool. A little bit of world building. But what I think they're doing here, they're making Keaton's Batman like its own little pocket universe, because I don't. The fact that it's Billy D. Williams as Two-Face, there ain't no direct connections to Batman Forever and Batman and Robin, really, besides certain actors still going into those movies. I think they're really making this just his basically multiverse or Elseworld type story, multiverse. So I think that's cool. I kind of like that better. But in this book, my expectations were a little bit different. It didn't go the way I thought it was gonna go. I thought it was gonna jump right into like a brand new reimagined villain, but it's actually taking its time. It's building the story of Harvey Dent, the Billy D. Williams Harvey Dent from the original movie. Um, so that being said, in this book, it doesn't really tell you how long after the first movie it takes place, but you're assuming it's at least a good, almost into maybe 6 months, maybe, because Batman's already making a name for himself and cleaning up the streets. Well, in this, it takes place on Halloween night, and there's an armored car heist, happening outside, and Harvey's at dinner, but he's at dinner with Barbara Gordon. So we know her as eventually being Batgirl, but I don't know if they're going to go that route in this story. But the fact they're introducing Gordon's daughter and having her getting engaged to Harvey Dent, I found that kind of interesting. Different twist. And so there's this heist, and of course, our Batman comes in and foils their plans. Well, the next day, um, Harvey goes to Bruce and he's like, I want your help. I want to bring down Gordon. Well, in this, we find out that, Batman's always been loyal to Gordon, but in this, we find out the reason he's, like, really for Gordon is because the night of his parents' death, Gordon was there the night uh, that the police showed up and everything like that. And almost kind of like how the Christopher Nolan movies portrayed Gordon, like the younger version of Gordon, and when he meets young Bruce and he gives him his jacket and stuff. They're kind of playing on that a little bit in this, because Bruce tells Alfred, I'm never going to portray Gordon. He was there with me the night my parents were killed and stuff like that. So I kind of like that, because if you watch the original two movies, Gordon's not really the Gordon from the comics that we know, and he's not really the Gordon from the movies that eventually come years later. So I like that they're giving him a little more of a backstory, a little more depth between him and Batman. So he comes to Bruce saying, I want you to help me bring down Gordon. He's like, nah, I can't do that. So the next step Harvey takes, he's talking to Gordon, or Barbara, and he's like, so what do we got? And she's going through the crime evidence and the evidence locker, and she has the Batarang, basically from Batman Returns. It's the one where he keys in his opponents and then it goes and knocks them out. And so she's going to end up running tests to find out where the tech came from. So that's something else, too, in the original two movies. We always assumed that Bruce and Alfred made all the Batman stuff, the suits, the car, and all that stuff, because you always seen him working on it. So maybe they're gonna world build and say that he has a Lucius Fox or somebody that makes his tech for him. But so certain little or questions we had back in the day with those movies, I think are kind of getting hinted at to being answered. So so Harvey ends up calling in the National Guard because he's under the assumption that there's not just one Batman, but there's multiple Batmans working as like a unit. Because he's like, there's no way one man's fighting a war on crime or whatever, and taking the law in his own hands. But it is just one guy. But now it's one guy against like an army because Dent calls in the National Guard. And also in this, we're going to be introduced to this version's Robin, because he shows up at the end of the book. Well, I'm trying to figure out where that's really going to fit in, because I'm pretty sure that in continuity this takes place pre-Batman Returns, which we know there's no mention of a Robin, there's no indication of a Robin, anything like that. So if they are going to do a play on Robin for this little corner of the universe, I'm thinking it's not going to be like we expect, sidekick Robin. I think it's just going to be that he trains somebody maybe, and they go off and they're doing their own kind of like vigilante stuff elsewhere, or not Elseworld, but elsewhere. So that's what I'm thinking is going to happen. Granted, there's already a couple issues already out of this book that I don't have. So it's a possibility I'm already wrong, because I'm late to the game covering this. But so they're introducing them. I know in the original movie it was planned to have a Robin in that movie, so I don't know if they're pulling stuff from old scripts and recycling it for this story or not. But yeah, so that'll be interesting to see where they go with that. I've always enjoyed the fact that Michael Keaton's Batman never had a Robin. He was always just a solo Batman. So I kind of wish they would have stuck with that, but we'll see how they do it. We'll see where they go with this. So Harvey doesn't turn into Two-Face in this issue, but I know eventually I think he does in this series, because it's basically telling Billy Dee Williams' version of Harvey Dent, which is drastically different than the Harvey Dent we know from the comics. So that's the first issue, because it ends with Batman not being captured, but by the time he turns a corner, he ends up running into the army, the troops or whatever. So that's where it cliffhangers off into the next issue. So again, some of you might already know what's about to happen. I'm behind. But I'm probably not going to do issue to issue of this. I really wanted to just cover the first issue because I was excited about the book. I'll probably circle about and come back like down the road once this book's in trade. That's probably when I'm going to really finish reading it, when it's in paperback. But I enjoyed it. Going back to the world, and anything 89 Batman I'm always down for. I enjoy it. I love it. It's one of my go-to movies. So, that being said, that's issue 1 of this book. Now, I did like some of the little, Easter eggs in this book. It does take place on Halloween night. At least the first part does. So, it's cool because you see cameos of, not characters, but people in costume from different Tim Burton movies, like the people from Beetlejuice. You see characters from, Mars Attacks. Basically anything Warner Brothers put out. The bank that's being robbed, you see Batman dodging bullets, hiding behind a giant penny. For you Batman fans out there, one of his trophies in the Batcave has always been a giant penny. So, not that I don't think he's going to move that penny to the Batcave, but I just thought it was cool that it was there. It's in the universe. So I enjoyed the book. I'm gonna wait and see where it goes. I'm just happy they're doing something with 89 Batman. So, that being said, I highly recommend it. Check it out. If you're not sure about it, go in with the mindset that it's just an Elseworlds book. It's just a different version of Batman, because it's really nothing like regular continuity Batman at all. So, Even if you haven't seen the Michael Keaton movies, you don't really need to because they don't really dwell on it, which kind of surprised me. There's no mention of past events or anything like that, so you're good there. Even though I still recommend going back and watching the movie. I support that movie. So that's this episode. Until next time, I'll talk to you later. If you enjoy, the videos and just kind of getting some of this Elseworld type storytelling, like and subscribe. And until next time, I'll talk to you later.